Hello, this is saxophonist Antonio Parker, and this is A Conversation in Jazz, where we are promoting jazz through telling the stories. My guest today is the wonderful saxophonist and author of the book Have Horn Will Travel, The Life and Music of Herman Jr. Cook, Mr. Courtney Nero. We ask you to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell icon so we can let you know when we are posting another video or going live. We also ask you to donate to our Cash App in order to support the channel and help us to produce future videos. Our Cash App is $Jazzology 101. That's $Jazzology 101. Enjoy the video. Hi, I'm saxophonist Antonio Parker, and this is A Conversation in Jazz. Our guest today is a wonderful saxophonist and composer who has been performing on the DMV's jazz and gospel scene for many years. He has performed, toured, and or recorded with many gospel notables, including the dynamic gospel horn section Mo Horns, Richard Smallwood, Shirley Seizure, Fred Hammond, Donald Lawrence, and James Hall, to name a few. He has recently authored the book Have Horn Will Travel, the first full-length biography of the great jazz tenor saxophonist Mr. Herman Jr. Cook. Please welcome my Phi Mu Alpha brother and friend, the wonderful saxophonist and author, Mr. Courtney Nero. Brother Courtney.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, man. Welcome to A Conversation in Jazz.
Thank you so much. It's
Yes,
a great
sir.
pleasure.
Yes.
Be with you, Antonio.
Yeah.
Tony P.
Yeah. It's been a minute.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man.
Uh-huh.
When I was thinking about it, I recall you being online for Phi Mu Alpha.
And so do I.
Yeah. I actually pledged you, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was
yeah.
I cool?
Yeah, you were cool.
Okay.
You were cool. We came a year after each other. I was spring
Yeah.
92.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So
yeah. Now some of the others I can't really speak to so much.
Anyway, man, it's good to see you, and to see that you kept the music going.
Yes, sir.
You know,
Yes, sir.
and you were budding. You know, we were all getting it together back then.
Right.
And but
right.
some cats keep it going,
Uh-huh.
and you have done that, man. And just reading some of the things you've accomplished since that time, man, I'm really
Right.
proud of you.
Yeah, praise God.
Yeah,
Thank you so
no
much.
doubt about it, man.
Thanks.
What we do here, man, is we learn the story behind the story.
Okay.
So some things may not know about you,
Right.
other than our tenure when we had Howard.
Okay.
So
Okay.
my first question is, who is Courtney Nero?
How about that? I've been waiting for that question. I've watched previous episodes of Conversations in Jazz.
Uh-huh.
Knew that question was coming. Still wasn't sure how I was going to answer, but I have to put it into 3 points, almost like a sermon, right?
Come on.
I feel like I'm a child and a son, and what I mean by that, number one, I'm a child of God.
Absolutely.
I thank God for life, health, and strength for my family. My wife, Sabrina, almost 29 years.
Beautiful.
2 children, Naomi and Asa, daughter-in-law, Reagan. I'm a child of God. I am a very proud son of Washington, D.C. I was born and raised in D.C., went to Brightwood Elementary, Rabeau Junior High School, went to Banneker High School right across from Howard.
Yeah.
So I had a previous pastor. He used to say, I'm D.C. born, D.C. bred. When I die, I'll be D.C. dead. So, so I'm a child of God. I'm a son of D.C., and I'm a son of this music, man, and a child of this music. I just feel like I'm in a place where I'm just trying to continue to learn and continue to develop in the music.
Yeah.
Come from a great musical legacy or legacy of music in my family. So just trying to carry that forward.
You done answered about 4 or 5 questions I had. Beautiful, man.
Yes, sir.
Wow, that's a mouthful. So you're originally from D.C.? What part of D.C. are you from?
I grew up in Northwest D.C.,
Okay.
right off Georgia Avenue, Brightwood, Fort Stevens area.
Gotcha.
So stayed there until college, and then actually went to college in D.C. as well. Went to Georgetown,
Gotcha.
and then did graduate school at American.
Yeah, it was interesting. So I came in D.C. in '87.
Okay.
So we're close in age.
Right.
But,
yeah.
But when I got here, D.C. was called the murder capital.
Right.
It was a certain energy during that time. Now, because I was in college, I guess we were sheltered in a way.
Yeah.
So I got on the shuttle bus.
Right.
What was it like for you growing up in D.C.?
That's a great question, because I was aware of that vibe, that reputation in D.C., but there's something about growing up in the city where, whatever it is, it's still yours.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
And there was something, I think there were certain parts of the city, you knew to take some caution, but by the same token, it was mine. I'm walking in that. I had a high school girlfriend who lived in Southeast, other side of Pennsylvania Avenue Bridge. And one time, I was trying to get to her house. I wasn't driving at the time. I took the subway to Potomac Avenue. I walked across that Pennsylvania Avenue Bridge and got to her house. And it was like, I'm not looking over my shoulder every minute. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there was definitely a vibe and an energy to the city. And then some of it was not so good, and some of it was great. Had Chuck Brown playing every week. You know what I mean? Had the jazz going.
But you was divinely protected as well.
Yes, sir. I received that. Yeah.
I think I was too, man.
Yes, sir.
Because I didn't walk around in fear. I mean,
Right.
And I do remember walking in D.C. I didn't go to Southeast so we was in the Northwest area.
Right.
But when I got to D.C., the first thing that at that time that struck me was the Chocolate City.
Yes, sir.
Like, I remember, man, coming up and getting on Amtrak from Philly, or coming down, rather, and getting off the Amtrak and seeing all these black folks working. I said, and it was
Right.
so D.C. has gone through different iterations over the years.
Yes, it has.
But back
Yes,
then,
it
man,
has.
it was a interesting time.
Back then, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
Marion Barry and all that,
No doubt.
Yeah.
Do you come from a musical family?
I do come from a musical family. So my father played clarinet and some tenor saxophone in high school. My mom played some piano. We had a piano in the house.
Gotcha.
Growing up. But the legacy of music in our family is very rich. One of my distant cousins is Grace Bumbry, the opera singer.
Wow. Really?
I have another cousin who's active on the music scene today, Braxton Cook.
Braxton Cook is your cousin?
Braxton Cook is my cousin.
Great saxophonist.
You may know the great Javier Nero, who's up at Peabody. He's my cousin. He's lead trombone in Army Blues.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. And Ferranda Williamson, who's up in Chicago. She directs the Chicago Mass Choir.
Oh,
as a matter of fact, yeah.
Oh, man, that's
and
great,
then
man.
I'm passing it down to my son. I mentioned my son Asa, who just finished jazz studies at North Texas, and my daughter Naomi, who sings, plays piano and guitar. Yeah.
Beautiful, man. So you came in an environment where music was being in music, like, because when I came up, I was think I was the only musician in the family.
Okay.
And, my brother started, but he didn't keep up with it. But it's nothing like having a tradition of music and musicians in the family.
Right.
Right.
So it was encouraged in the household.
Yeah,
you know what
beautiful.
I mean? Yeah.
What was your first instrument?
First instrument was probably, I was playing around on piano. We had a piano in the house. In elementary school, played drums for just a little bit, played violin for just a little bit.
Okay.
And then once I got to junior high school, I started on alto saxophone. It's a funny story behind that, because when I was in elementary school, we go to the auditorium, we'd have PE class, and then go back to the classroom. Go to junior high school, it's not PE class, it's gym class. You know what I mean? You go into the gym, you do your thing, and then you're supposed to go take a shower and go back to class.
Yeah.
I go into the locker, I see this shower room, bunch of shower stalls on the wall or a bunch of shower heads on the wall, no stalls.
Wow.
I said, I'm out of here, man. I don't know these people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And my only way out of gym class was to take instrumental music.
Wow.
So I went to instrumental music and started playing saxophone, and the rest is history.
Wow.
That was in seventh grade.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you stuck with the saxophone out of all of them?
I stuck with saxophone.
Okay.
Yeah, I played alto up until the mid-'90s. That's pretty much when I started, when I switched to
did you
tenor.
have an affinity for playing the saxophone when you started?
I did. I think I had a bit of a bass line from doing piano and stuff,
Gotcha.
that music. And I did a lot by ear, played mainly concert band music through junior high and high school. And midway through high school, I saw the movie Round Midnight with the great Dexter Gordon.
Yes.
And after seeing that, and after seeing him and hearing him in the music, I said, that's the music I want to play.
Really?
You know what I mean? Yeah.
That's how you got hip to jazz?
That's how I got hip to jazz, yeah.
Wow.
And then it was odd for a bit because I was listening to Dexter, I was listening to Sonny Rollins, Branford Marsalis, all these cats were on tenor, but I was still on alto at the time. But I was starting to soak it up, and just get that bug.
Gotcha. Beautiful, man. So you weren't formally taught? Did you have like private lessons and that sort of thing?
Not really. I took instrumental music in junior high school. I took my junior high school teacher was Elizabeth Crawford, who was the wife of Dean Crawford from Howard University.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. My high school band director was Everett Brooks, bass player. And then when I went to college, I was in the Georgetown University Jazz Ensemble all 4 years over there.
So now, Banneker, you went to Banneker.
I went to Banneker, right.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Now that school is supposed to be like one of the top schools in the nation. That's what we were taught.
Right.
Was it?
Yeah.
Was it?
It was. It was like back in that time, particularly, it was like one of the only magnet schools in D.C. I mean, we had Duke Ellington, which was specialized in its way for music.
Gotcha.
And then Banneker really had that college prep vector, a lot of AP classes and such. And so, we were in there getting ourselves together,
Wow, beautiful, man. So it sounded like you had a good foundation. Now, mention the elementary school you went to?
Brightwood.
That's in Northwest?
Northwest, 13th and Nicholson Street.
Okay. And middle school you went to?
Middle school went to Rabeau Junior High School over Kansas Avenue, North Capitol Street.
And that's where you started playing the saxophone?
Correct.
So you were in the band?
I was in the band at Rabeau Junior High School, and then we had a concert band and a small jazz ensemble at Banneker.
So Banneker, were you playing jazz at Banneker?
About halfway through.
Okay.
We had a very small jazz combo at Banneker, so we playing a little Satin Doll, little A-Train, that sort of thing. When I went to Georgetown, I was in the Georgetown Jazz Ensemble all 4 years. First year I played baritone sax.
Gotcha.
And then the other 3 years I played alto. And it was during my time at Georgetown. Georgetown had a lot of musical theater going, but not a whole lot at that time in the way of performing arts. So It was during that time I went to Howard. I took 1 semester of classical saxophone that beat my behind with Charlie Young.
Okay.
Yeah.
You studied with Charlie?
Yep,
okay.
1 semester. And then I had 1 semester of jazz improvisation with Jerry Allen while she was there.
Okay, beautiful, man. I want to, when I ask you about college, I want to ask you what made you come to Howard. So we'll get to that.
Okay.
But I want to go back to high school.
Okay.
In high school, is that where you got acclimated to jazz?
Yes. High school, so the movie Round Midnight came out around 1986, 1987. I finished high school in 89. So that was about halfway through for me. So seeing that, hearing Dexter Gordon, really influenced me. I said, I'm hearing something in there.
What was it about jazz Now, up until that time, what kind of music you listened to? Did you come up in the church?
I came up in the church, so
Okay.
I was listening to some church music. Everybody listened to 96.3,
Gotcha.
Sunday morning, that sort of thing.
Okay.
But in school, we were mainly playing concert band music, either contemporary arrangements or Blue Ridge Overture, stuff
What
like
were you
that.
listening to, like, around the house? Like, what was you listening to? Michael Jackson?
I was listening to a lot of pop music,
Okay.
and black R&B, yeah.
Now, when you first heard jazz, okay, like when you first it hit you, were you like, did it like hit you like a ton of bricks, like it did me?
It did, because it was so, you listen to pop music.
Uh-huh.
Pop music is by and large molded or curated to be commercially successful.
Gotcha.
So there are some threads that you can trace all through different types of pop music.
Mm-hmm.
You listen to jazz, you listen to Dexter Gordon play body and soul.
Yeah.
It's the exact opposite.
Yeah.
He's not going for commercial. He's
Yeah.
going for
Yes.
taking his voice out of himself and putting it
putting
through
it-
the
yeah, no
saxophone.
doubt. Yeah.
And I think that's what really influenced me.
Wow. I'm trying to get the young people, because I'm a teacher, educator, I guess, and I find this. I don't know how to teach people to get into jazz, because when I heard it,
Mm-hmm.
it just knocked me out. And I find that a lot of young people today, they're into their music,
Right.
whereas when I was coming up, I was into like all rap, hip hop, R&B, got soul.
Mm-hmm.
And when I heard jazz, I was just knocked out.
Right.
So I had this open mind, and I was able to just understand, get it, like all these different music, and I don't know why a lot of people, like when they hear jazz, it doesn't just knock them out.
Right,
Like it
right,
did me.
right. Yeah. And I think part of the thing too is, especially for young people, is in a certain way trying to meet them where they are. Even if you can teach them to play on their instrument the music that they're listening to,
Yeah.
that's going to make them want to play more.
Yeah.
And I remember that as well. When I was coming up, we had a piano in the house, had a small keyboard. I was listening to stuff like, Tears for Fears, you know what I mean? And trying to play, what's that, Head Over Heels. I don't know if you remember that in the intro, and learning that on piano.
Yeah.
Like if they're learning something, I think that's part of the challenge with some music education these days. They have these, what they used to call those red books. They have this curriculum, but the children don't see themselves in that music.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
it's very difficult, because as an educator, you have to try to find, you got to stay within the curriculum and teach all these different, they want you to do X, Y, and Z.
Right.
Kids don't care nothing about that
Right.
stuff. And they want to get right to the fun. And
Right.
but when my principal comes in and observes me, I got to make sure I'm covering X, Y.
You got the rubric. Right.
There you go.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yesterday I took a colleague of mine at the school that I teach. Now he's into go-go, and I took him to see Kenny Garrett last night at Blues Alley.
Okay.
So
Hit him like a ton of bricks.
Oh man, Kenny was, and what I like about Kenny is that Kenny gonna give you that thump.
Right.
Then he gonna give you a spiritual kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
Then he can give you that straight ahead. Man, he did all of it.
Yeah.
He's kind of going music from different cultures. He Latin and all that. So he did it, man. He killed him that night.
Yeah.
So I was just looking at my boy. I ain't say nothing to him after the hit, but he was. I said, man. You gonna go for it, and you're gonna go get an experience.
Right.
And I could tell. And he's an older guy.
Okay.
But I could tell that experience affected him a certain way. I'm just kind of watching him.
Right.
And he's a go-go head. He always talking about go-go. But I know, and afterwards I say, so man, what you think? He said.
Another thing about that, when you talk about, learning versus the classroom as well, a lot of us, we came up, we got music, we didn't get music in the classroom. And that's something to be said as well, that we got the ear going.
Yeah.
And it's something to be said for both of those.
Oh,
I'm not putting down reading at all.
Yeah.
But, taking it from the ear really makes it personal, and it takes the barriers out the way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I wish I'd have came up that way.
Right,
I
right.
do. A lot of the baddest musicians I know, they came up first with this.
Right,
so
right,
I came
right.
up reading.
Yeah.
And so I'm still working on the ear. Now, who were some of your major? You mentioned Dexter Gordon. Who were some of your major influences musically, in any genre?
Musically, I think certainly Dexter Gordon from Around Midnight. Coming up in, and this has a tie to jazz as well. Coming up in high school, especially, my friends and I, we listened to a lot of Sting and a lot of Police. And when you think about the evolution of the Police and then Sting going solo, who did he have? And I didn't even realize significance at the time. Branford, right? On saxophone, Kenny Kirkland on keys, Omar Hakeem, right?
Yeah.
Like crazy, man.
Yeah.
And thinking about that, even going back to my childhood, thinking about just watching TV after work, after school or Saturday morning, think about TV back then. Fat Albert, Johnny Quest, like think about those theme songs, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was like straight up music. That was like straight up jazz, and we were getting that every day, didn't even know it.
Plus, we came up during a time which I call the Young Lions generation. I'm coming from Philly, and I went to high school, Christian McBride and Judy Francisco, and Philly was like DC and other places, was a great like environment for young musicians, particularly in jazz.
Right.
I got to just be around some great young musicians, and then artists would come, and like Wynton Marsalis was the cat. He was Mr. Jazz at that time. He was just the face of jazz. And then Roy Hargrove. Then I met Roy because when I was in high school, I was in the All City Jazz Band in Philadelphia.
Okay.
And so they had the downbeat competitions in Chicago. And so we went, and I had Joe. I always brag, I had Joey and Chris in the band. So and some other cats that could play, man.
Yeah.
But we had, we were a nice band, man, and we went and we heard the other bands from around the country, man. And Roy Hargrove stood out. He's one of those cats that stood out. He started playing, and everybody turned their head like, who's this young? And, and then that summer, I won an AXO. It's an NAACP, I think, called AXO Award from Philly. Okay. And they went to New York to have the AXO competition or something. And Roy was coming out of Dallas or Texas, whatever. And I saw, and we were playing on the street corner, man. And so then I go to Howard. Yeah. And then Roy, he starts playing with Bobby Watson. And, then he puts out his first single, A Diamond in the Rough. Okay. And then Roy, remember Sheldon Wright? Yes. Yeah, Sheldon and Roy were close. Okay. Because they came up back in high school, whatever. So when Roy would come play at Blues Alley, he would come on campus. Yeah. Yeah. And so, man, that time, and then you had Mo Better Blues came out around that time. Right. So it was a great time. And then I was at the when Joshua Redmond won the Monk competition. I saw that. Then I'm hearing Tim Warfield and all these cats. Man. Yeah. And so it was just like, man. It was a great time. Right. Yeah. We had 2 stations with jazz. I mean, no, we had 3. I think Baltimore had one. Then we had 2 stations in D.C. Right. We had PFW, which is still around, and then WDCU was around 90.1. And it was a conscious thing happening because I was at Howard, Public Enemy was popping, and the hip hop this was when hip hop was kind of progressive in terms of consciousness. Right. And, do the right thing. Yeah, do the right thing and all that, man. So it was a great time on many levels. And then I think that somewhere in the mid '90s, maybe the middle '90s, somebody somewhere made a decision to dumb down the culture.
Right.
That's when the NWA started popping.
Mm-hmm.
They start dropping people. They start dropping radio stations.
Mm-hmm.
Even in Philly, we had a 24. They were limiting radio stations around the country. I ain't gonna say around the country, but in different cities where they had strong jazz stations.
Yeah.
And they were cutting the stations down.
Yes.
And the labels were dropping people. Did you know Columbia dropped Winton?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, and they were dropping their jazz division.
Right.
You know, and there used to be jazz on the Grammys.
Okay.
Yeah, you used to have live jazz on the Grammy. You don't see that no more.
Right.
So I'm a conspiracy theorist. I think somebody made a decision to say, okay, we need to dumb down the pop. And so I don't know what happened to our culture.
Right.
In terms of the kind of music and that we put out. I mean, I came up with, I believe the children are the future. Teach them well, let them lead the way. Wake up, everybody! No more sleeping in bed. Lean on me.
Young, gifted, and black.
Gifted, and black. Yes.
Yeah.
And that created a environment coming up.
Mm-hmm.
You know. Now I hear this stuff, man, and as an educator, man, it's affecting our kids.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
Negatively.
Right.
And
right.
It's almost like I don't. What's your take on it? I mean, I'm just giving.
I mean, I think it's. I agree with you, and I think it's that it makes it that much more important that you, for example, are an educator. You staying on the wall. You know what I mean?
I got to suffer some more.
But I think about cats like you, Vinton Jones.
Yeah.
Clifton Brockington, who's in the system.
Well, LeRon's in private school.
Mills, Brian Mills.
LeRon did teach in New York, so he understands what Brian Mills. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But we have to put it out there, and we have to represent ourselves, represent our people, represent the culture. Which I'm not jumping ahead, but which also goes to the book. To have Hornwheel Travel, to use it as a means to educate people.
Yeah.
About not just the Charlie Parkers and John Coltrane's, but there's so many more musicians whose stories deserve to be told.
No doubt.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about the great Junior Cook.
Yeah. But you mentioned influences. Dexter Gordon. I listened to, of course, a lot of Charlie Parker.
Okay.
Bought an Omni book. I didn't even know what to do with that thing.
Yeah.
Man, you know what I mean? Sonny Stitt, of course. Charlie Rouse, D.C. Zone.
Yeah.
Born in D.C. Charlie Rouse.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, were you a Cannonball cat?
I was a Cannonball cat. Yeah.
Okay.
And I think I was listening to a lot of Cannonball. I remember getting the CD Something Else that he did with Miles.
Yeah.
And I felt like, man, it's just so much to do in this music. You know what I mean? I'm still struggling through that Omni book. I feel like I didn't even really deal with Cannonball. So I was trying to get through Bird, you know what I mean?
Well, I started with Bird, and it took me a while to really digest Cannonball because I've come from Bird. A lot of people can't hear Bird. If you don't start at Bird,
right.
A lot of people can't go in reverse to see where all that stuff emanated from.
Right.
Bird considered the father of modern music.
Right.
That Omni book, man, helped me to develop my reading chop.
Okay, yeah,
I used to read that stuff, man, and I read it. I loved it because, when I should have been transcribing, really, like you said, by ear, I was able to read it and sound like Bird,
right,
in a way.
Yeah.
So that was that Omni book, man. That helped me.
Yeah.
That's how I got how I developed a language, jazz language.
Right.
Like just playing through those things.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's something to be said for that because you really have to go back in the music. There are a lot of cats who, they want to sound like, say, Kenny Garrett, for example, and they start with Kenny Garrett, but they don't realize Kenny started, maybe with Cannonball, who started with Bird, and you got to work it back like that.
Yeah.
Somebody told me, because I didn't, I took a couple classes and I pledged at Howard. But I wasn't really in the scene there. But somebody told me a story about Fred Irby and said there were these cats in the band and they were trying to get all their Herbie Hancock chops together. And Irby, turned to them one time and said, before you get through Herbie, you got to get through Irby.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I can hear him saying that.
Yeah. But you gotta go back.
Yeah.
I heard Branford say one time that he was, dealing with, though like he loves like Wayne Shorter, he was dealing with, the Lester Young. And the more he dealt with the Lester Young, like dealing with Lester Young helped him to play more modern in a way. Yeah. Because you're going back to the source.
What it is a lot of times we gravitate toward emotionally to cats.
Right.
And so, and that's why we'll start at a Kenny Garrett, because he grabs us emotionally right now.
I hear that.
But in terms of getting the information, and for you to really get to that, going back is what's necessary.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I definitely get that, man.
Yeah. You trying to start with Shakespeare, but you haven't been through Hooked on Phonics.
Yeah.
You got to get the bass line. You know what I mean? Yeah.
No doubt about it.
Yeah.
Now, you also play contemporary music, like what they call smooth jazz, contemporary jazz. Who's your cat in that vein?
Probably go toward Gerald Albright.
Okay, yeah, he's back.
Yeah.
Yeah, wonderful. My dude was Grover.
Okay, yeah. Grover
was
for sure.
Yeah. But I love Gerald Albright's a beast.
Right.
Kirk Whalum.
Kirk Whalum. Yeah. So, and that's another one of those cats. Grover, you can hear, and Kirk Whalum. Whatever. I will even admit, I'll put it on myself. When I first started hearing them, coming up earlier, there was I want to say a stigma, for lack of a better term, right? To smooth jazz. Like, there'd be some straight ahead cats who might turn down their nose at CTI. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But you listen to them, they have the foundation. They paid their dues. They've been everywhere. And it's all coming out in their
for one thing, they mastered the saxophone.
Exactly.
And they know how to get certain things. I mean, and when you listen to Maceo, even David Sanborn, man, they were just great saxophone players.
Right.
The style of music is irrelevant. That's just what they chose to.
Right.
How they chose to do it.
You got to master the horn.
Yeah, they mastered the saxophone.
Right.
But that's what I'm saying. I was always open-minded. So I could go and, I had my first Bird album was Bird at St. Nick's, which was a recording of somebody that taped him at playing live somewhere. And you hear all the scratch, the glass clicking.
Right.
And all that. And man, as a kid, I was knocked out.
Yeah.
Just floored.
Yeah.
Like, whoa. It appealed to me emotionally. I heard Bird the first time I heard. I heard that essence of who he was.
Right.
Like, just as a kid. And that's why I think there's some things I don't know how to explain it to people. You either get it. I can explain from my vantage point, but Charlie Parker, man, just in his sound and his creativity, it's just different, man.
Yeah,
it's just like and then I would go to the corner store and put in some Grover. And Grover, man, just was so soulful, man. I just that, and this as a kid, man, it was Bird and two opposites of the spectrum. And I was, and so the Grover kept me into the contemporary vein. So then I started checking out David Sanborn and other cats, Gerald Albright.
Yeah.
And I can appreciate that. And just because you can play straight ahead, don't mean you can play.
That's true.
This other thing.
That's true. Another one, Walter Beasley.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
Killer.
Yeah, man. And Kim Waters. Yeah, man. So I just have appreciation for great music.
Yes.
Yeah. So we in the same zone with that.
Right. Yes,
Let's talk about the saxophone.
Okay.
Now you play all the saxophone.
Yes.
Oh, you said alto, tenor.
Alto, tenor.
Soprano.
I have a soprano. I have a baritone at home. She doesn't come out very much.
Yeah, got you.
You know?
Are you as equally comfortable on all of them?
I am. I'd
Okay.
say if I am only taking one saxophone out, it's probably tenor saxophone.
Wow.
But on most of my gigs, I have tenor, alto, and soprano.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
It's interesting, man, because it's really a skill to be able to, when you play alto, think like an alto player, or to approach it
Right.
as if, and then when you get on, especially from an alto player coming to tenor.
Right.
It's like some people can approach alto like a tenor and get a certain thing from it. But on tenor, you got to think like a tenor.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And was there a period where you had to get comfortable
There was, and it took me quite a while to get comfortable
on that? Yeah.
on tenor.
Yeah.
Coming from alto, I don't know if you remember my very first tenor was a Yamaha student tenor that I bought from you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that
I
was
remember
like
that horn.
mid
Yeah.
1990s or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah,
I remember that horn, man. Man, you bringing back memories.
Yeah. But it's funny because I think about that quite a bit because there are a lot of cats. Like I know you mostly playing alto. Mills, for example, only plays tenor. Kamasi Washington pretty much only plays tenor. So it's it's different strokes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but Brian Mills started on alto too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he came to Howard. He's playing alto.
Oh wow.
And switched to tenor, and that's when he found his voice. That's as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Remember Kebby Williams?
Yes.
He's another one. He came on alto, and but then when he switched to that tenor, it was like, I think I play tenor more at home, but I know how to get I know how to approach a tenor like a tenor.
Right.
Yeah.
And, yeah. Talking about voice, this sidebar, I went to the UDC, the Big Band Festival.
Yeah.
And heard you with the, sitting in with the UDC,
Yeah.
and then Mills with the Maryland and did his.
you was at the last one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where he did his composition, The Struggle.
Oh, yeah.
Which
yeah.
I talked to him about that, and I played that with my band about a month ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. I had to transcribe that thing.
I meant to talk to him about that. That was a nice composition.
It was very nice composition.
And Brian has perfect pitch.
Okay.
And so he, when people with perfect pitch, man, they can hear stuff. He's one of them cats, man. But yeah, man. He just got his master's too.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations,
yes,
B.
Yeah, congratulations, B.
Now, what brand of saxophones are you playing on nowadays?
Good question. Right now, I'm playing on a Martin Magna tenor saxophone, which shout out to the Powell family at Grace Covenant Church. Very good friends from my church. We started going to Grace Covenant out in Chantilly a few years ago. Made the acquaintance of a couple at Grace Covenant and learned that Miss Powell, her father, had played tenor saxophone up in Boston, was one of the first black firefighters in Boston.
Beautiful.
He died about 20 years ago. And during one of our small groups, she had his horn, his tenor, sitting in the closet for 20 years.
Really?
She brought it, for me to play, and I was playing on Cannonball tenor before, and the Martin had some leaks and springs, but I said, "There's some fire in this thing,"
Yeah.
And she came back to me about a month later, and after hearing me play it, she thought, her father would want the horn to be played, not sitting in the closet. So she was looking to donate it. And I said, well, if you'd like to give it to me,
No doubt
I felt some fire in that thing,
yeah.
So I got it overhauled, and that's been my main horn.
Yeah.
Martin Magna tenor, which was an American make, came up with Cons and Bisher and that sort of thing. My alto for a long time, my very first alto was a pawn shop alto I got out of a pawn shop, 14th Street Northwest,
I've
with
had
my
plenty
dad.
of those.
Yeah. And in the late 1980s, once I started playing jazz, My dad took me to Chuck Levins, shout out Chuck Levins, and he bought me a Cuff Superba 1 alto saxophone.
Yeah.
I've been playing that up until...
You still have it?
I still have it.
Okay.
Been playing it till about 2 months ago when I got on that Yanagasawa train, man. I got a Yanagasawa W01 alto.
Wow.
That's my alto. And then I have a Yanagasawa 991 curved soprano.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. Straight sopranos.
Yeah.
I hadn't been playing a lot of soprano for a while, and it was doing something to my wrist. You know, I was playing it without a neck strap. And one day on a lark, went up to Gaithersburg, and I played a curved soprano, and it blew my mind.
Really?
Changed my concept because, one, it's closer up to you, so it just feels easier to play.
That's a Yanni?
A Yanagasawa,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I have a Yanni.
And when you play straight, of course, the sound is going straight ahead. It's going in the floor. You play that curve, it's coming back up at you.
Yeah.
It was just a whole different sound
Wow.
concept.
Branford plays the curved one too, doesn't he?
He plays a curved neck.
Curved
but
neck.
this is fully curved. It looks like an alto.
Oh, you mean like a... Oh,
yeah, except it's that big. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
I don't know if I played one of those things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's connect, man. Yeah.
Do you play flute and clarinet?
I do not.
Okay.
I do not. That's still on the list.
Yeah.
Still on the list. I gotta make it complete, you know?
All right. So you mentioned you went to Georgetown, right?
Yes.
Okay. What made you choose Georgetown?
That's a funny story as well. My last year at Banneker, most of my way through Banneker, I was looking at maybe a career in engineering, mechanical engineering, chemical engineering. And the summer before my last year in high school, I saw Mikhail Gorbachev, the General Secretary of the Soviet Union. He was in an interview with Tom Brokaw on NBC News. And for some reason, that just struck me, man. You know, listening to him, he was talking in Russian. He was talking about the Soviet Union. And before then, this is before the Soviet Union broke up. So it's humongous landmass from Pacific Ocean over to, the Baltic countries in Northern Europe. And it just struck me, this country, that I didn't know anything about. And I thought to myself, how can I learn more about this country? And the answer was learning the language.
Wow.
Which I didn't know. So my senior year at Banneker, I took a Russian language course at George Washington University.
Okay.
And I really enjoyed it. So I decided to go with that. So I applied to colleges as a Russian language major.
Really? So you speak Russian?
I speak Russian language, yeah.
Fluently?
Yes, yeah. And so,
wow.
And so when I was applying, I applied to 3 schools. I just put it out there. I applied to Princeton, I applied to UVA, and I applied to Georgetown. I got into UVA in Georgetown, and I went down to UVA in Charlottesville to visit the campus. And growing up, like I said, DC born, DC bred, man.
Yeah.
I went down to Charlottesville, no buses, no subways, no skyscrapers. You could hear the frogs chirping at night. I said, take me back to DC, man. So I ended up at Georgetown for undergrad as a Russian language major.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, man, is learning a language similar to learning music?
I really think so.
Really?
I really think so. And when you think about, there's so many parallels, especially thinking about jazz. When you're talking about, what makes a language and what makes somebody fluent in that language. Maybe they know idiomatic expressions,
Gotcha.
in certain way, in a similar way that we know patterns.
Yeah.
Wow. And what is it about when you listening to Bird or when you listen to Train or Sonny Stitt, what are you picking up?
Gotcha.
Picking up what? Vocabulary.
Yeah. Wow.
Right? I mean,
Yes.
And so there's a real, and I've seen people explore that in the past. I think there's something that we could explore much more explicitly. It may pay some dividends in the classroom as well. Just talking about vocabulary, because some kids coming up, maybe they're taking a second language in school.
Wow.
So they're looking at Spanish class, and then they're looking at music class and thinking it's 2 totally different things, but there are a lot of parallels there.
Have you learned any other languages besides Russian?
I've learned some Georgian as well. Georgia, Republic of Georgia, is a country that's south of Russia. They have a totally different alphabet, totally different script,
Really?
totally different language. Yeah,
Wow, man.
yeah.
To me, it takes a certain kind of mind to learn Russian. Like, or Chinese or any of those like
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
So do you think like if you want to learn any language that you would know how to go about learning that language?
I think so. I think so because in a similar way, universally across languages, there are a lot of basics, language basics that we know for English that we don't even, we sort of take for granted because it's just second nature to us. But sort of knowing those things, how to conjugate a verb, knowing the verb needs to be conjugated, looking for those types of things. If you learn, a second language, I think that gives you a baseline for learning other languages as well.
Does that help your English?
I think it gives me a greater appreciation for English, and it gives me a greater appreciation for what I don't know in those other languages. You know what I mean? Because there's so many, like I said, idiomatic expressions and, slang, things like that just rolls off the tongue for us in English.
Yeah.
But then if we go into a second language, we're speaking very literal because we didn't grow up with it. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Then now what brought you to Howard? So did you graduate from Georgetown and then you came to Howard? How was that?
No, well, I was undergrad at Georgetown from 1989 to 1993.
Gotcha.
And like I said, there wasn't a whole lot being offered at Georgetown in the way of performing arts.
Gotcha.
So I recall taking a history of jazz class at Georgetown. I took a harmony class at Georgetown, but that was pretty much it. It wasn't a whole lot to be said. So there was.
So you just took the classes just to kind of develop.
Correct. So there's like what do they call it? Like a consortium program where if you're at any DC university, you could take classes at other universities.
As electives?
Right, as electives.
Okay,
right.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that's how I got into that classical saxophone with Charlie Young. I think that was fall semester my junior year, and then spring semester junior year was at Jazz Improv with Jerry Allen.
Now, Charlie I studied with Charlie a couple of years, man, and that was one of the, he really helped me to learn the detail of the saxophone. And,
right.
What was it like working with Charlie Young?
It was mind blowing, man.
Really?
It was and I still remember that I was trying to get through that Paul Creston sonata.
Yeah.
But you could tell, one, you could tell his mastery of the horn. Mm-hmm. Two, you could tell his dedication to the horn and dedication to passing it on to the next ones. And he could really tell, I mean, the youth are going to be the youth. We coming up in college and we got a lot of distractions. We got a lot of things on our mind, but he was again, somebody staying on the wall, making sure we did what we needed to do. Yeah.
He just retired, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah, he just retired. Yeah, him and Irby.
Oh, yeah. I know Irby because Paul Carr came in, right?
Yeah. So, now you were also part of the Howard University Residence Hall Choir.
Yes.
What is the Howard University Residence Hall Choir?
So Howard was known, of course, for GC.
HUJ?
Howard University Gospel Choir.
Oh, Gospel Choir, gotcha.
Right,
okay.
right. And the Residence Hall Choir was another choir on campus. I think they were a little more informal, if you want to say. For a long time, they were directed by Thomas Pierre, and they met either they often met in Crampton for rehearsals.
Which style of music did you do?
We did a bunch of varieties of gospel music, and it was both traditional and it was contemporary. So we were doing, Andre Crouch, Smallwood, and then we were doing, James Hall.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you sing too? You sing?
Well, no, I was with with Residence Hall Choir as a saxophonist.
Oh,
yeah,
gotcha.
Yeah.
Makes sense. I was like, what? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, beautiful.
Now,
man.
I did sing some in the Georgetown Gospel Choir, and that was really interesting just for my spiritual development as well. Growing up in D.C., my family went to Asbury United Methodist Church down at 11th and K. Mm-hmm. And again, youth being youth, once I went to college, I took some of that opportunity to just not to go to church at all.
Gotcha.
But my sophomore year, my dorm room was right outside the chapel where they had the afternoon Protestant worship service.
Wow.
And Georgetown Gospel Choir would sing during that service. So I'd be doing my homework in my room, and I could hear the gospel choir singing. I said, let me see what's going on there. So I started playing saxophone with that choir.
Wow.
And then did some singing with that choir. And I really credit that experience in Georgetown Gospel Choir with bringing me back to the Lord. So once I finished school, I just knew I needed the Lord in my life, and it led me to Greater Mount Calvary on Rhode Island Avenue, where I got saved and I joined that church back in the 90s. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Beautiful, man.
Yeah.
And so now we're going to get to the book, but I wanted to, and I learned this about, I said, man, he's been playing your pathway, coming up with saxophone, and now you're gigging.
Right.
Now, were you gigging when you start gigging, were you gigging in the jazz thing first or more in the gospel vein?
I was gigging more in the jazz thing first. Coming up at Georgetown, I was playing with the Georgetown Jazz Ensemble, meeting some people through that. Mm-hmm. And I used to do, back in that day, a lot of duo gigs.
Gotcha.
Which was really hip, like saxophone, guitar, duo.
Gotcha. Good
friend of mine, Alex Goldman, who played guitar at Georgetown. Once I pledged Phi Mu Alpha, was doing a lot of saxophone bass duo gigs with Russell Sledge.
Wow, the late Russell Sledge.
The late Russell Sledge. And we were doing, I didn't really get heavy into the Georgetown scene, like people were playing the saloon and stuff like that. But there was one place near Wisconsin Avenue and Prospect Street. It was called Dillon's. And we used to play there a couple Fridays a month.
Wow.
But started out in the jazz thing and then moved into gospel more so a little later on.
Now you played with some heavy hitters in the gospel. How'd you get acclimated in that to start playing with those heavy hitters?
So I got saved at Greater Mount Calvary, and that was October 1993. By January of 94, I was playing saxophone with one of the choirs at Greater Mount Calvary.
Okay.
And so that helped me meet some people in the gospel realm, including cat also born and raised in D.C., Steve Lawrence, phenomenal vocalist and keyboard player, organist. He was at Greater Mount Calvary for a certain while, and then he became the minister of music at the Potter's House, T.D. Jakes, down in Dallas, Texas.
Wow.
And it was another thing, this is way back in the day, man, 94, 95, Steve Lawrence used to host what he'd call a Christmas cantata every year, big Christmas concert at Greater Mount Calvary. And that was where I first met Marvin Thompson, trombone player. That was where I first met Darren Atwater, Soulful Symphony. And back in high school, I had met another saxophonist, James Cheeks, in this area. Going back to D.C. as well.
You know Christopher Nicholas?
Yes. Yeah, I know Chris Nicholas. Yeah.
He's into the gospel thing too.
Right. But back in high school days, one of my formative work experiences, Marion Barry had a program in D.C. called Summer Youth Employment Program, SYEP, and part of that was the D.C. Artworks program where they would hire students essentially to do performing arts, all summer. We'd have about 6 weeks of practice, instruction, and then the last 2 weeks we'd be gigging around D.C.
Wow.
So I had met James Cheeks through one of those, and actually Charlie Young. For a while, he was directing Blues Alley Summer Youth Program.
Oh, wow.
And then I met Kelvin Montgomery, trombone,
Trombonist.
and the great Frankie Addison one summer doing that thing as well. But jumping back to Greater Mount Calvary, once I started playing there, I met Steve Lawrence. I met James Cheeks again and Marvin Thompson. They were doing a two-piece horn section, and they had recorded, for example, with John P. Key on one of his albums. And once Steve Lawrence went down to Texas, he wanted a horn section to come down there. So they, James Cheeks and Marvin Thompson, brought me in, and that sort of expanded what was Mo Horns at the time.
Oh, wow.
So we started playing. Then we brought in Clifton Brockington on trumpet. So we had a 4-piece horn section, Mo Horns, and from there we played T.D. Jakes live at the Potter's House. That was like 1997 or so.
You played for T.D. Jakes?
Yes.
Wow.
And he put out a CD. We played on that CD.
Wow.
We played on a Christmas album with Shirley Caesar, which won a Grammy Award. And from there, we played with Fred Hammond, Donnie McClurkin, Donald Lawrence, James Hall. You know,
so the Lord would just open the doors for you, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And that was another opportunity where there was nary piece of sheet music around, you know. And what would happen often is they would hire us in because they had their music. Say Richard Smallwood had a whole album of music all together and didn't have any horn parts. So we would come in, we would compose and arrange the horn parts and then record them. You know?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's how you do it.
Yeah, yes sir, yes sir. So I owe a great debt to both James Cheeks and Marvin Thompson. Just that opportunity just opened up my ears so much, you know, and then just the exposure as well to play with those great.
Well, you seem like you always had a curious kind of, you know, you were curious, and you stayed in certain things that led to certain other things,
right?
And you just keep walking. And the next thing you know, voila, you know.
Exactly.
Now, what is the Jazz Infusion Band?
Jazz Infusion was a band that I played with for about 10 years, Northern Virginia-based band. Played with them through late 2024, actually. Okay. But Jazz Infusion did a mix of straight-ahead jazz and then more contemporary. We did some... Huge Groove. We did some David Sanborn. We did some Steely Dan. So yeah, it was a nice mix.
And then the Common Ground.
Yes, jazz Common Ground Jazz. I play with them currently. They are a smooth jazz, more contemporary, instrumental R&B band. It's led by Tim Jones on bass. Okay. And we play once a month. There's a restaurant down in Alexandria called Della J's. Okay. They have a Jazzy Thursday, and we play there first Thursday every month. We'll be coming up to play there this coming Thursday, June 4th. So tune in.
Yes. Now, do you also lead your own band? Or,
yes.
Okay. Do you have a name?
The Courtney Nero Quintet.
Okay.
Yes, and we play at another Northern Virginia venue called Bourbon Boulevard out in Chantilly. Okay. And that's an opportunity for us to stretch out even a little more. We actually play a fair number of Roy Hargrove tunes. Wow. I can bring in some of my originals as well in that band. Wow. Yeah. So it's a quartet and a vocalist. Kyrus Powell plays in that band.
Now, I wanted to ask you, you know, like church folk, back in the day, at least, you know, they had a thing with sacred music versus secular music. Have you had to grapple with, am I just going to play a certain style of music, like for the Lord or whatever? Right. But I have this. I'm listening to jazz and this other kind of. Did you have to wrestle with any of that?
I did, actually, very early on. You know, like I said, coming up in undergrad, I finished undergrad in 93. I got saved in October of 93. And after that point, I really did think about that at one point because I heard some preachers preach that that if you are, if you were saved, you shouldn't be, sort of dabbling in secular music. But I really had to study that for myself, had to seek, godly counsel on that, because, and see sort of divine what's being taught, and whether it was their interpretation or,
Gotcha.
whether it was really coming out of the Bible.
Gotcha.
Because the Bible says we are in the world, but not of the world, which is true. Both of those are true. We are not of the world, but we are in the world.
Yes.
And sometimes there are opportunities for us to be able to shine the light, in dark places.
No doubt.
You can't shine the light in dark places if you only stay in the light.
Ooh,
you know what I mean?
Go on there.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I love it.
We're here to spread. We're here to extend the kingdom.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
I just want to get some of your history. We're gonna get to the book, but I want to get some of your history, man, because you've done a lot of stuff, man. You had a debut album, Make Me Walk.
Yes.
And it was nominated for a Stellar Award in 2009.
That's right.
Tell us
So
about
the and that really goes to that conversation. The album. This was my first solo CD. So this was after much of the work that I did with Mo Horns. That was pretty much about 1997 to about 2007 or so. And after that, I wanted to put out my own project, and it's a mix of jazz and gospel music.
Wow.
I have a jazz arrangement of Our God is an Awesome God with Russell Sledge playing on that. And I really mixed it up.
Gotcha.
I also reached into the jazz world. Horace Silver had a composition called The Preacher.
Yes.
That we played on that album. There was another Henry Mancini tune that I heard on PFW one Sunday afternoon. And I don't think Mancini wrote it as a gospel tune, but it hit me as a gospel tune. The name of the song is I Love You and Don't You Forget It.
Wow.
And when I heard that, it was Sunday afternoon. I was heading home, heard it on PFW, and it was as if the Lord was singing that to me.
Beautiful.
You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
I love you and don't you forget it. Love me too and you won't regret it. That's the words of the song. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I mixed those two up, and the result was that album, Make Me Walk.
Wow.
Released it in 2008. Still available on digital platforms. And then in 2009, it was nominated for a Stellar Award in the Instrumental Gospel CD of the Year category.
Beautiful.
And that was along with, who else was, actually, that same year, Davy Yarborough and Esther Williams had a CD that was nominated in that same category.
Oh, wow.
And Angela Christie, the great gospel jazz saxophonist, was nominated, and she won that year. But it was a great honor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, have you put out any other recordings?
Since then, I've only put out singles. I put out some singles, particularly.
That's what a lot of people are doing nowadays.
Right. During COVID, sat down in my house. It's me and a microphone and GarageBand.
Yeah.
One that really means a lot to me. Have an original composition called Alderon that I released in 2020 or 2021. And this was a composition that I wrote after my father passed in 2017. For the Star Wars heads, if you watch the original Star Wars, Alderaan was the home planet of Princess Leia that they blew up with the Death Star. And after my father passed, it was that similar sort of sense of emptiness that I felt. So I wrote that song for him, Alderaan. Wrote a couple others, The Journey. I wrote in the presence of the racial justice protests. I wrote a song called I Am a Man, which you can find the song and a video on YouTube where you see this sort of montage of black men along with the iconic poster from the 1960s, I Am a Man, as the song is going along.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then you have a song that you say somebody used as a theme.
Yes. I have a good friend, Tyra Garlington, out in Northern Virginia. She has a radio show on Radio Fairfax in Fairfax County.
Gotcha.
And I wrote a song called I Am Listening for her, and she uses that song as a theme song for her radio show.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
My man.
Yeah.
All right. Have horn will travel.
Yes, sir.
Man, I must say, man, when I learned that you were writing a book on Junior Cook, I was like enthralled, man. I'm like, congratulations, first of all, man.
Thank you very much.
You know, I met Junior Cook one time.
Okay.
At the One Step Down. He died a week later.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
And at the time, I didn't really know Munir. Had to hit me to who he was.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Yeah, man. So, Have Horn will travel. The life and music of Herman Junior Cook.
Yes, sir.
What inspired you to write the book?
Going back to my Georgetown years, I mentioned my good friend Alex Goldman, guitar player. He let me borrow. He was also in the Georgetown Jazz Ensemble. He let me borrow a CD back in that time. I think it was the debut CD for the Harper Brothers. It was called Remembrance, live at the Village Vanguard.
I think I got it.
And on that CD, they played a cover of Horace Silver's song "Kiss Me Right," which he.
Is that song? Is that the song that goes like that?
And he listening to that, I realized Horace Silver composed it. I mean, and they were killing on like Winard on drums, Philip Harper on trumpet, Justin Robinson was alto.
I remember that song, man.
And listening to it, I said, man, they killing on it. I wonder how Horace Silver did it. Like, what does the original sound like?
Gotcha.
So I went and found that. Horace Silver recorded it, and I don't know that he ever played it again, that tune, Kiss Me Right. But it's on an album called Live at the Village Gate.
Gotcha.
Doing the thing. And that was my first introduction to Junior Cook.
Wow.
Listening to that song, listening to that album. And then I realized, you know, Junior Cook and Blue Mitchell on trumpet, they were the front line for Horace Silver from 1958 to 1964. So 6-year time span. So there are a lot of iconic Horace Silver compositions that many people know that when they're listening to those compositions, they're hearing Junior Cook.
Wow.
On tenor saxophone. So Sister Sadie, Cooking at the Continental. He originally recorded Nika's Dream with Hank Mobley, but then he recorded it again with Junior Cook.
Okay.
Yeah.
But Hank was with him first, right? And
yes.
Then, okay.
Hank was with him first. And then Hank Mobley was incarcerated for his drug addiction. Clifford Jordan came in very briefly, and then Junior Cook came in right after Clifford Jordan.
Wow. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I got to see Hank Mobley, too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, one time.
Wow.
I was in high school, sitting at a club called Natalie's on 40th and Market.
Okay.
And I didn't know who he was, man. He was playing on one lung. I got to hear him play.
Wow.
And I'm sitting there as a little kid with my horn, just want to sit in on a tune or two. And a friend of mine said, "You know who that is?" He said, "Man, that's Hank Mobley." I said, "Okay." And Hank came and said, Hank saw me with my case. Hank came over and said, "Can you play that thing?" I said, "Yeah." Yeah. So I find it interesting that, now did you think Junior Cook and initially, I guess when he initially came in the band, was similar to Hank Mobley?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. And I think, Trace in the book where Junior Cook and Horace Silver, they first met, it appears they first met here in Washington, D.C. And I think, Junior Cook says in an interview that he thinks Horace Silver heard some Hank Mobley in his playing and Junior Cook's playing. and that's what attracted them. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, together.
Okay. Wow.
But I first hearing Junior Cook on that Horace Silver CD, that was probably around 1992 or so, probably right around the time that he passed, because he passed in February of 1992. And then jump a little bit ahead. My wife, Sabrina, is born and raised in Pensacola, Florida, and I realized Junior Cook was from Pensacola, Florida. Yeah. So then jump ahead again to COVID and have all this time on my hands, world's on lockdown, thinking about Junior Cook and trying to do some research, just Google search and figure out something about his life, and really couldn't find a whole lot.
Wow.
So that started me on the journey to research and try to interview folks, and culminated in the book. It took me about 4 years.
It took you 4 years?
4 years, yeah.
Now, did you listen prior to that? Were you into was that one of your dudes that you were checking out?
Yeah, I was checking him out.
Okay.
I like Junior Cook, and certainly toward the top of my list. I have to say, even though I heard and listened to Dexter Gordon in Round Midnight, I feel like he really pulled me into jazz. If I had to name one and only one all-time favorite saxophonist is Stanley Turrentine.
Gotcha.
He's got the bebop thing down, but man, he's oozing with the blues.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? But Junior Cook, Charlie Rouse, man, those cats, they just saying something, man. It's so melodic and lyrical in their playing.
Yeah.
And deliberate, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So, what are some things that you would like readers to take away about Junior Cook that they will get in Have Horn Will Travel?
One of the great things, one of the great compliments for the book I received actually came from Munir Nasser. We were talking about it after I finished the book, and he complimented the book that it was a contribution to the history of jazz in the second half of the 20th century.
Wow.
And when you look at a number of histories around these days, I've heard some people who have experience in some jazz studies programs in academic setting, and they complain in certain terms because it seems like those jazz programs only go from Louis Armstrong to Charlie Parker.
Gotcha.
And I was also thinking about this. I don't know if you remember, it's hard to believe, 25 years ago that Ken Burns put out that History of Jazz on PBS. So look, that series was 10 episodes long. Episode 1 started the late 19th century, so 1890s or so. Episode 9 finished in 1961.
Wow.
Episode 10, the very last episode, went from 1961 to 2001. So that gives you a sense of the significance, or maybe the lack of significance, that they perceived in that time period. Some people, they think about jazz in, say, the 1970s, 1980s, and all they think about is like Miles Davis' Bitches Brew, or Weather Report, or, Return to Forever, or CTI Records. They act like it's almost as if they perceive that straight ahead jazz went into a coma in 1965, and then it woke up out of the coma when Wynton came to New York City.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? But what I want people to take from Have Horn Will Travel is that throughout that whole period, 60s, 70s, 80s, people were playing this music, and they were playing it at a very high level. And when you look at Junior Cook's life, even though he wasn't one that sat in the marquee, you know what I mean? He was playing, like I said, Horace Silver, 58 to 64. Then he continued that Horace Silver vibe with Blue Mitchell. They played in a group together until about 68 or so. He played with great Freddie Hubbard on trumpet. He had a quintet with great Louis Hayes on drums and Woody Shaw on trumpet in the 1970s. Played in a quintet with Bill Hardman in New York, and they were very prominent on the New York City scene and Jazzmobile, which I talk about in the book. So that's really what I'd like to take. One, that this music was continuing at a very high level. And then also, there's a book called, and I have it here, it's called Blues People by Amiri Baraka. Right.
Formerly Roy Jones.
And he talks about, in the introduction to his book, the importance of us, you know, going back to the beginning of this conversation, the importance of us documenting our music and our culture and our people, and doing it with the institutional specificity that we do for European classical music.
Yes.
You know?
Absolutely.
As I was coming up and trying to research this book, I realized, you know, we know a lot, and not putting down it anyway. You know, we know a lot about Bird. We know a lot about Train. I can go on Google. I can find out when John Coltrane was born, where he was born, when his father died, when his grandfather died, when his mother moved him to Philadelphia, where he went to high school, when he joined the Navy Band, when he recorded with the Navy Band, recorded Charlie Parker tune. And so little of that I could find on Junior Cook. I'd go online and it'd say, Junior Cook was born in 1934. In 1958, he started playing with Horace Silver, you know, and I'm thinking, what happened between 1934 and 1958? Who were Junior Cook's musical influences? What was Pensacola like in the 1940s? What was it like for black people in the 1940s? What were his musical influences, the bands that played, you know, in that area? And in the book talks a little bit about the Chitlin Circuit and all of that.
And I find it, one thing I dig, man, is that, you know, it's so many artists in jazz that get overlooked. You know, like you said, it, you know, they're going to have Train, they're going to have, you know, Bird, Miles, and Sonny Rollins, who we just lost. But to pull a cat that's what they call the uncrowned king, you know,
unsung heroes,
unsung heroes, that type of thing. But a lesson that I get from it is that you never know, like, and it's for people who have, like, I'm sure Junior Cook would probably never thought that somebody would actually reach back and try to put some pieces together, in his honor and in his name. But had not he done the work, had not he did what he was, you know, whatever I may be sent here to do,
there'd be no story to tell.
It'd be no story to tell. And the fact that you were able to unearth, even small, no matter how small, it actually, that helps. They live on through that. In this, at least on this plane,
Praise God.
You keep their legacy. I'm really big on legacy, man. I said nothing is not unimportant. So everything you do that matters. You know. So man, that's beautiful that you have taken a cat that I only saw him one time, and I got to meet, and then he died a week later. And at that, I didn't know who he was at the time because his name, when I was coming, I just didn't hear his name. And Munir had to tell me who he was, and I got to hear him, of course. And so,
and I actually think I just missed him because I'm pretty sure it was sometime in the mid '90s. I went to One Step Down to hear Cedar Walton and Ralph Moore was playing with him on tenor. And, you know, taking nothing from Ralph Moore, I know from researching the book that Ralph Moore would sit in or would sub for Junior Cook sometimes. And I don't know, I just speculate that had Junior Cook still been alive, that might have been his gig. You know?
No doubt. Beautiful, man. Another thing, man, like you mentioned that, especially from our generation, not a lot of people. Munir's an author.
Right.
He wrote a book on his dad,
Right.
upright bass. I know a cat wrote a book on Sonny Rollins. I think of his name. Aiden Levy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's not a lot of people documenting the music, you know.
Right.
And so, man, that's what makes what you're doing even that much more significant.
Thank you.
And,
you know, it's funny. I saw I'll put this out there. I saw a Facebook post from Willie Jenkins recently after Sonny Rollins passed, and he sort of threw a question out there about, you know, at Sonny Rollins passing, you know, who are sort of the, you know, some of the greatest living jazz musicians, you know, still among us.
Yeah.
And it really, you know, brought to mind the need to document their stories and document their lives and their careers while they're still here.
No doubt, man.
Yeah.
And I can rattle off names just from DC.
Right.
We talked about Andrew White. To me, who's didn't get, you know, he's, people know him, but as a cat Andrew documented himself.
Right. This is true. 700 pages worth. Yeah.
So he knew he was that forward thinking.
Right.
So
that's true.
But especially as African Americans, man, we got geniuses. Like Andrew was like a genius in every sense of the word.
Yes.
I mean, and a lot of these guys get overlooked in life. You know, they're great. Buck Hill, we got you know,
Carter Jefferson,
Jefferson, man.
And then that Facebook post, you know, they were talking about George Coleman, Gary Bartz, you know, still among us right now.
Now I was talking to Munir. A lot of those cats, if you try to get an interview, a lot of times they might hold that information close to the chest.
That's true.
It's hard to get them, like, sit down to interview.
Right.
To share this information. And so they take this stuff to the grave.
That's true.
You know, so we gotta help them to see another side of it. You know, look, when you got somebody wanting to document and give it right from the horse's mouth while you're here.
Exactly.
You know,
legacy building.
Yeah, take that opportunity, because jazz is not the most popular music in our country at this point. So when somebody really wants to sit down and get your information while you here,
jump on that.
You know?
I hear you.
Some cats take information to the grave, man, and for what reason I don't know.
Right.
But they leave stuff to conjecture and that sort of thing. But man, we glad that you took it upon yourself to document some of the life of Herman Junior Cook.
Yeah, thank you.
And have Horn Will Travel, the life and music of Herman Junior Cook. Now he's from Florida. I was just looking up some of the musicians that come from Florida. Sam Jones.
Yes.
Cannonball, Nat Adderley. Gigi Grice.
Yes.
Blue Mitchell, Bobby Felder, who just passed, is from Florida. Idris Suleiman. Oscar Denard.
Right.
Doug Karn.
Yes.
Charles Tolliver. Rodney Kendrick. Raymond Angry Arfrat.
Okay. Goldfinger.
Goldfinger. So that and which is interesting, because a lot of time when you hear about those cities that produce some or those places that produce some great musicians, you know, you hear about Philly, you hear about Baltimore, Detroit, New York, but so here's some cats that come out of Florida,
exactly,
that I think puts Florida on the map, actually.
Yeah. And there's so many places like that. It maybe, you know, you wouldn't, like you said, you know, you think of a Chicago or DC or New York, but maybe not think as much about Florida, or not think as much about Indianapolis, where Freddie Hubbard came out of. You know what I mean? Not think as much about, now it's escaping me now, where Joe Henderson, you know, was born. I think he was in Ohio, I think.
Joe Henderson from Detroit.
Detroit, okay.
I believe, yes. And speaking of Joe Henderson, in the book you mentioned how Junior Cook and Joe Henderson, because I was listening to some Junior, man, I'm hearing some Joe Henderson too.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right, yeah.
I don't know if it had to do with the hard rubber mouthpiece, because you know you get a different sound on the hard rubber on tenor than with tenor. I mean, the metal.
Right.
But Junior Cook and Joe Henderson lived together for some time, right?
Yes. When Joe Henderson got out of the Army and came to New York, he hung with Junior Cook for a while. And it's really funny. There's an interview, or an excerpt of an interview. It's on YouTube. The link is somewhere in the book, with Freddie Hubbard. And Freddie Hubbard said that in the early days, you heard Junior Cook and Joe Henderson, you really couldn't tell them apart.
Wow.
They were so similar, you know, and the research suggests, you know, from their interaction when Henderson first came to New York, that they probably did a lot of shedding together. Yeah. You know, and of course they're contemporaries. They're sitting in that same time period.
Now, were they competitive with each other?
I think they were competitive. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And one of all the folks that I had the opportunity to interview, one person who I was not able to interview, I wish I could have, was the great George Cables on piano, because, and I had a conversation with tenor saxophonist Javon Jackson. He had suggested I try to contact George Cables because George Cables played keys in the Freddie Hubbard quintet when Junior Cook was there.
Wow.
And he played with Joe Henderson on Joe Henderson's album. So he would have been someone uniquely able to sort of compare and contrast what he heard, you know?
Wow.
Yeah.
Maybe if you ever do a new edition, you get interview from, you know. But that's interesting, man. I noticed, and I read in the book that Junior Cook didn't do much composing.
Right.
Which meant he didn't collect a lot of song royalties from writing songs for these. And you would think that with these masters, if you run song, you would have had royalties coming in.
Right.
What's your take on that?
You know, someone asked Junior Cook about that at one point, and his response was that he was composing every night when he was on the stage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But one really interesting aspect of the book is looking at his life in the way of, you know, the music industry and the music business. You know, the phrase music business is composed of two words. There's the music and there's the business. You know what I mean? And it's just interesting looking at his life, and obviously he was an in-demand player. Horace Silver, Freddie Hubbard, Bill Hardman, Louis Hayes. But he, for whatever reason, didn't have that. I don't know if he didn't have the business acumen, or if it just wasn't as important to him. One time I was interviewing the pianist Mickey Tucker, who was one of the first interviews I had researching for the book. And he said that, you know, he recorded an album, Junior Cook, where he was the leader on the album, a Steeplechase release. And they recorded a Mickey Tucker composition for Junior Cook's album. And so Mickey Tucker was saying he probably got paid more off of Junior Cook's album than Junior Cook did, precisely for that reason, right? Because he had the composition and he'd be getting royalties off of it, whereas Junior Cook might just be a one and done, or, you know, as the CDs are sold or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, did you have to fund the book yourself? Or did you get
Pretty
published?
much exclusively. I funded the research effort, all myself, with the exception of a very generous fellowship I received from Rutgers University.
Okay.
Up at Rutgers in New Jersey. They have the Institute for Jazz Studies,
Gotcha.
which is a phenomenal repository of information on jazz. And I applied and was selected for a research fellowship. So they gave me a grant
Okay.
that funded me to go up there for a week
Gotcha.
and do research for the book up
Wow.
there. So other than that, the book was totally self-financed until I sent it to University of North Texas Press.
Okay.
An earlier draft. That was before my research trip. They were very interested in Junior Cook as a subject of the book. They have a musician biography series
Okay.
down there. So the book worked into that
Oh, beautiful.
that series.
Yeah.
So once I went to Institute for Jazz Studies, did some more research and some more writing, they decided they were interested in it, and it went through their review process, and they picked it up for publication, which was a tremendous blessing, it being my first book that University of North Texas Press
Now, what is
published.
that process like, man? I mean, what was the overall process like? I mean, was it grueling, tenacious? I mean,
It was definitely, like I said, it took 4 years. It's
Yeah.
definitely playing the long game.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of, I don't know, just felt a little bit like detective work. You know what I mean? But
You didn't feel overwhelmed at any point?
not especially because, I think because I didn't have a firm deadline, right? This was my personal project.
Yeah.
So it was sort of on my own timeline.
Yeah, I got you.
But started out in COVID doing Google searches, and then started thinking about, who else can I contact? And I did a lot of this through Facebook Messenger, actually, oddly enough. So, like, if Courtney Nero wanted to contact Antonio Parker and we didn't already know each other, I could still find your account in Facebook Messenger and send you a message,
Gotcha.
and either it would get to you or it would go to sort of a spam folder or something like that. But that was much of the research for this book. I read something about Mickey Tucker. I found him on Facebook. I sent him a message. I said, are you the Mickey Tucker? You know what I mean? And this guy, he's living in Australia right now.
Wow.
So he responded. He was very generous with his time and information. He sent several photos that are featured in the book.
Yeah.
But a lot of it was Facebook Messenger or emails,
Wow.
starting out sort of, you don't know me, but, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
My name is Courtney Nero. I'm working on this book on Junior Cook, and most of the people, not everybody, most of the people I contacted, they were really interested in this effort. They were really, grateful to me that I was putting forward this effort trying to document Junior Cook's story.
That's interesting. Like from a publisher standpoint, most publishers probably would be interested in a named person.
Right.
They think that a named person would be more marketable or whatever. But you got a fairly obscure cat that's in terms of notoriety. No, people who are not into jazz knowing about jazz.
Right.
I mean, if you're into jazz, you're gonna, of course, learn. You probably know about who Junior Cook was. Did you find any pushback because you were doing a kind of an obscure cat that
Yeah, I didn't. Well, as part of the process, when I am sort of marketing the book or trying to get them to pick it up, University of North Texas Press has a process, and you have to put together sort of an application package.
Gotcha.
Talk about the research that you've done, talk about similar books that may be out there, who's your audience,
Gotcha.
What's the significance, and then I also had to send them a sample chapter out of the book. So
Gotcha.
at that point, I sent them what's now Chapter 2, which talks about Junior Cook's time with Horace Silver.
Okay.
And they were interested in it. And I think they were interested both in the story in and of itself, and then just in the effort to, again, to document this story, to document those who may not be on everyone else's radar. But to their credit, in their biography series, they also have biographies on Cedar Walton.
Okay.
UNT Press has a biography on King Curtis.
Okay, wow.
Have biography on Mel Lewis. Have biography on Pat Metheny, actually, on part of his time in time.
You have considered doing a documentary to supplement or complement the book?
I have thought about doing a documentary. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's just a different, kettle of fish, but it's something I'd be willing to think about. And also, it's a very interesting story. When Junior Cook first came from Florida to New York City, we came to New York for a couple of years. He went back to Pensacola. Then he came back in 57. 57, he was playing with Dizzy Gillespie Big Band for a little while.
Yeah.
And at one point, he seemed sort of maybe self-conscious in his own ability. Junior Cook wasn't sure that he belonged in that, because when he said he sat in the rehearsal, and Sonny Stitt is sitting on the other side of him, and he's like, shaking in his boots.
Yeah.
And at one point, he decided he was going to leave.
Wow.
And so a lot of the cats were staying in this hotel. He went down in the lobbies trying to sneak out. And one of the other cats in the band, saw him and saw that he was trying to sneak out and sort of encouraged him, and said, Dizzy Gillespie wouldn't have you in the band if he didn't think, you had what it took.
Yeah.
So he told him, going back upstairs, Junior, because he was younger than everybody else, and that was sort of where the nickname Junior Cook caught on, and it stuck.
Wow.
But the point is, I've also thought about doing a book, maybe even like a children's book or something. Capturing a piece of that story, where sometimes you may be on a journey and you have doubts in yourself.
No doubt.
But other people can encourage you, and other people can help show you the talent and the potential that you have inside and set you on the rest of your journey.
So how did you know you can write a book and be successful at it? Or you just is that self-belief or faith?
It was, you used the word tenacious before. I decided that after I started the research process and interviewing these cats, I decided I was going to give it a go to try to get a publisher. But if not, particularly these days, 21st century, there are a number of resources available for self-publishing. Yeah. So I told myself, if I didn't get a bite from a publisher, I was just going to publish it myself. And that would be a different set of logistics. I'd have to deal with my own distribution, stuff like that. But I said that'd be possible.
Now,
as well.
Are there advantages to self-publishing versus getting a publisher? Like, do they make certain things easier for you?
I think having a publisher does make some things easier. They take some things off your plate. Most notably, like I mentioned, the distribution and some of the marketing. But it certainly is not impossible to publish yourself. It just takes more time and logistics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to have more skin in the game.
That's right. That's true.
Wow, beautiful, man. So let me ask you, man. I remember reading, I was fascinated with Charlie Parker, his music, and Bird Lives. I read that when I was in high school. And through his music and reading and hearing the stories, I felt like even though Bird died about 14, 15 years before I was born, I felt like I know Bird. I know him.
Right.
Right. Do you feel like through this research on Junior Cook that you know who, you kind of got an idea of what kind of cat he was and his thought process and what kind of musician he was? Did you get that?
I did get that feeling.
Okay.
I did because, interviewing Mickey Tucker, who played in a couple of groups with him, in just, a few. Michael Weiss, a pianist in New York, who played with the Bill Hardman group. Great Timmy Shepard, who's a vocalist. He lives in Baltimore now. He and his son Kelly were tremendous resources for me. Timmy Shepard was a vocalist with Junior Cook, Bill Harbin Quintet. And then Timmy Shepard also was roommates with Junior Cook for a few years.
Wow.
So it just really gave me insight into, like you said, to knowing Junior Cook and realizing that, you know, different strokes, man. We're not all built the same way.
Yeah.
We're all playing this music and trying to grow and develop in it. But we all come at it from different ways, you know, and some of it is still a mystery, you know, still a mystery why he didn't compose more than he did, or he didn't pursue more leader dates or something like that.
Just hearing some of the stories in the book, he reminded me, I could see certain New York cats, you know, they have certain kind of mentality, you know, like you say, he didn't play, they asked him to play some of those horse show tunes. And,
Right.
And want to, you know.
Yeah.
We already did that.
Right.
You know, kind of music speaks for itself. And those, you know, that kind of, you know, I am a composer. I compose, you know, I compose on the bandstand, you know.
Right.
So I understand that thought process. That those cats that, you know, but you kind of, you can get that. That's what I get when I get from the book.
Yeah, and there's a section as well that really goes into, he was pretty prominent on the jam session scene, especially in the 1980s. And from cats like Michael Weiss and Timmy Shepard, saxophonist Sue Terry, who's down in Ecuador right now, I learned a lot about, when you talk about legacy, sort of about the things, Joe Farnsworth, things that Junior Cook taught, not necessarily by saying do this or don't do that, but things they just learned from his example.
Yeah.
You know, being able to say what you need to say in 2 or 3 choruses. Talked about programming. You know, if you did a rhythm changes tune, you don't need to do another one. You already did that. You know, keeping it diversified, both for the band and also for the audience, to give the audience a good time.
See, cats like Junior Cook, when I was coming up, were running the jam session. Like we had Bootsy Barnes and Phil, you know. They were the cats running the jam session. So they would. There's a, I think, when you come up in the University of the Streets, as they call it, you learn. That's a lesson. You learn how to do things, how to run a session, from the cats that's might be a little bit more older or whatever, and you pass that. I don't know if that thing has been severed any because of now we got internet and all this stuff. People learning, you know, go to college, they learn it on YouTube,
right.
But it's very important to pass these stories down.
Yes.
I think, and that's another thing why I think that book is will be very useful in the literature of jazz. Man, because a lot of these cats are taking the stories to the grave.
It's true. It's true.
And
one of the points that Ralph Moore made to me, Ralph Moore, one of my contemporary heroes, man.
Yeah.
And he just talked about the jam session scene, talked about how they learned the music in community. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the sort of unanswered questions in the book, sort of goes into it at the very end to think about, you know, not to discount the value of technology, but as we look at technology, think about what we are gaining, but then also potentially what we're losing. You know, some cats, they learn solo by playing the record 42 times.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And now, you know, you go to YouTube and you can find a transcription video and you can slow it down to 0.5 or something, you know? So there's a benefit there, something to gain there, but there's also something lost if you're not putting in that time. You know what I mean?
Outside of the music, there's a culture. It's like hip hop is not just when they tell hip hop as like a cultural thing. It's not just the music. It's part of it.
Yeah.
Jazz as we call it, is a culture too. You
Yeah.
dig what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
And like I say, you learn. It's an oral tradition type of thing. That's things that are passed down.
Mm-hmm.
How somebody said, not just what they said.
Right.
You did.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot. If you don't talk to the elders and especially before they pass, you ain't gonna get that.
Right.
And how they the way they communicated.
Mm-hmm.
So where you got these younger musicians, they can play all over the place.
Yeah.
You know, but then when you get off the horn, and when you get off the bandstand, and you have a conversation with them, and it's like, you don't see that hipness, that same kind of, it just don't add up. You know,
Right.
How you playing all this stuff, man? Then you get off the bandstand, you kind of square.
And some of them, even they have that, they've either mastered the horn, they have that virtuosity on the horn, but just because you're playing a lot of notes doesn't mean you're saying something.
Absolutely.
You could be, James Brown said, talking loud and saying nothing. So it's not just, certainly you can't get by without, mastering the horn. And I'm on my, I have a ways to go on that end, but there's learning the horn and then learning how to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, how did you know when you were finished, complete? Say, you did all the research. I'm sure you had to do a lot of editing, and the writing is wonderful, man. I mean,
thank you.
Yeah,
thank you.
I said, okay, this cat's writing, boy. Yeah, I mean, the writing is wonderful. How'd you know when? Okay, we ready to go.
Right. Just in the process, going from beginning to end, I got some great advice early on. There's another saxophonist from Pensacola named Joe Evans.
Okay.
And he wrote autobiography called Follow Your Heart. He wrote it along with professor at Virginia Commonwealth University named Chris Brooks. Talked to Chris Brooks as I was starting this, and he recommended that, the very early stage of the research, I just laundry list all the questions, each and every question I might have about Junior Cook's life, and just knock them down one by one. So I was just working through there, working through his entire life, and realized I hadn't talked to everybody. Like I said, I wasn't able to get in contact with George Cables, for example. I actually talked to George Coleman for a very short time on the phone. I was able to contact him through Joe Farnsworth, and I was at the very end of this research effort, and I talked to George Coleman, and he said, this week is real busy for me, but give me a call next week, and I can have you over to the apartment. I'll give you 15 minutes. I said, I'm going to take a train to New York City, and you're going to give me 15, and that was to me, in retrospect, that was a lost opportunity, because even 15 minutes with George Coleman is 15 minutes with George Coleman.
I guess they don't know, y'all couldn't FaceTime it?
Right. Well, no, that was his vibe, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But getting through his entire life, and then put in also, a decent portion of the book is, I'll say analytic for lack of a better word, trying to sort of decipher, here is Junior Cook's life, what can we pull out of that for Junior Cook as a musician? What can we pull out of that for jazz as an industry and as a music?
Will you ever contact any family members? Does he have any children?
Very, very late in the research effort, I was able to contact some of his, one of his nieces who still lives in Pensacola.
Okay.
I was able to send her a copy of the book once it was done. And in late 2025, we went to Pensacola for Christmas, And I still haven't had a book launch in this area, but the first book launch.
Did you go see his house where he grew up?
I did. I went to see the block. Yeah,
Okay.
and there's a picture of that in the book. The house where he grew up is no longer standing, but I was able to take a picture of that same block.
Okay.
And at the book launch late last year, I was able to meet his great niece. She was able to come to the book launch, and I was able to meet with her. So that
Where'd
was
you do your book launch again?
in Pensacola, Florida.
Okay, you did. Okay,
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, man. Did he have any children?
He had one child.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Wow, man. Well, bro, hey, man, your first book and man, it's well written, man. And
Thank you so much.
And yeah, man, people going to really enjoy it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Now, are you in the marketing mode now?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Look.
Go on there. Yeah, that's a whole nother. That's
Yes,
a whole
indeed.
nother monster, man.
Right.
Yeah.
Right,
So
right.
it's wild because you do all this work researching and you writing and
Right.
now you got.
And it doesn't mean people gonna read it. You
Exactly.
got to get it out there.
You got to. Yeah.
You got to get it out
But
there.
like going back to what I said, everything matters.
Yes.
You know. So just keep pushing it, and it's going. The tentacles going.
Yes, indeed.
You know,
Yes, indeed.
And as you you have a desire to write, to continue writing.
I do. I have some other ideas for jazz biographies, And on that note, I also want to give a shout out to the great Wade Beach.
Okay.
Years ago, my son, Asa, took piano lessons with Wade Beach.
Okay.
We'd go over to his house, and I would sit in as well. I was trying to, see if I can get whatever I could,
Yeah.
But went to his house, and Wade had a coffee table, had a Charlie Parker biography on it.
Wow.
And I started flipping through that. This is 10 years, it was before COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up getting a copy of the book for myself.
Okay.
And it just really, a love of jazz biographies flourished in me. Like you said, reading a biography, being able to know Charlie Parker, just realizing who their influences were, what they were thinking, different conjunctures in their life.
Yeah.
So now we have an office in our house, and I get a little bougie, little sedity. I say, it's not the office, it's the library.
Gotcha. No doubt
But we
about it.
have a wall of bookshelves, and I
Yeah.
have a bunch of jazz biographies, still
beautiful.
reading, but
Yeah.
there are other subjects. I mentioned Charlie Rouse,
Yeah.
another one of those. I think there's a parallel there with Junior Cook, because there are a lot of folks, there are a lot of folks who don't know Charlie Rouse. There are a lot of folks who, if they do know him, they only associate him with his time with Monk, in the same way that some cats who know Junior Cook, they only associate him with Horace Silver.
Gotcha.
And there's so much more of a story to be told,
Wow.
Not least that he was born in my beloved Washington, D.C.,
Yes,
native
no
Washingtonian.
doubt about it.
I'm also starting a project of jazz fiction.
Wow.
Writing short stories that have a jazz nexus. I've also been writing some lyrics to some jazz tunes, like in the vocalese,
Okay.
tradition.
Yeah, okay.
There's a wonderful Elmo Hope composition called Low Tide that he recorded, and then his wife Bertha Hope recorded it with Junior Cook on the CD
Yeah,
from
wow.
Steeplechase. I wrote lyrics to that song, and so we performed that
Wow.
with my group CNQ out in
Okay.
Northern Virginia.
Now, do you blog and write articles on jazz and little things like that?
I do some periodically. I
Okay.
have a website that I established late last year. It's called juniorcookjazztenor.org.
Okay.
juniorcookjazztenor.org, and it's a dedication to Junior Cook, and it's sort of a home base for the book as well. But in that website, I write blog posts just on different aspects of Junior Cook's playing.
Okay.
I've also posted solo transcriptions up there. When I first started the project, I thought about transcribing Junior Cook solos and including them in the book. But, the book is maybe 5 by 8 inches. It wouldn't be easy to write it. So I really couldn't incorporate them in the book. But so I started this website.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I got transcriptions, have other links. There are a couple of places on YouTube where Junior Cook used to gig a couple of times in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And whenever he went there, there was a DJ by the name of Lee Common, Kamman. And he interviewed him a couple of times on the radio. So I have links to those YouTubes where you can hear Junior Cook in his own voice, which is really wild. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Beautiful, man.
Yeah.
Now, where could people get the book, man? I mean,
okay, so
talk to the people.
Yes, sir. The book is available on Amazon.com.
Gotcha. Okay.
And it's also available through the Texas A&M University Press. University of North Texas Press published the book, but they are part of a Texas consortium with Texas A&M University. So you could go to Texas A&M University Press, TAMUpress.com.
Gotcha.
And you can get the book there as well.
Beautiful.
Yes, indeed.
Beautiful. Man, shoot. Good stuff, man.
Thank you so much.
Hey, man, I saw this poem you wrote called C.
Yes.
You know that poem by heart?
I do not know it by heart.
Could you read it?
Yes, I can.
I want you to. I don't want to mess it up, but I want you to read.
Hey,
yeah.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. So this poem is sort of a brother work to my composition, I Am a Man, which you find on YouTube and find the video.
Yeah.
As I did that, as I composed that music composition, I also wrote this poem and then had it performed. So that's also on YouTube.
Oh, beautiful.
All right. It's called See. See our strength. See our pride. See our number, unified. See our faces. See our hues. See our joys. See our blues. See heads bald. See heads grayed. See heads locked. See waves and fades. See our brow, tense and furrowed. Our question, how long? The answer always, tomorrow. See our eyes, watching the village, searching our place where others have privilege. See our gaze, see our vision, see our children, see our mission. See our mouths multilingual twitching, see our codes and our code switching. See our cheeks leathered, worn, smooth, 5 o'clock or beard adorned. See our lips, or do you dare suffer witness to the truths they bear? See engineers, linguists, doctors, preachers, administrators, writers, IT, teachers, entrepreneurs, realtors, too many others to call, playing sixteenths in a quarter note world, creatives all. See our battles, see our scars, see secret wounds from secret wars. See our stance, see our years, see our humanity, see your fears. See chins up, chests out, see shoulders strong, see heads unbowed to our nation's wrongs. My friends, my bros, my son, me, look at these faces, see us, see.
Beautiful. Man, my
Thank
man.
you so much.
Yes, sir, man. I said, man, we got to get that in here. That's a beautiful poem, man.
Thank you so
yes,
much.
Sir, man.
Thank you.
Got some final questions. First of all, how's the family? I want to give the family some love. You want to?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Family is doing very well, thank God. I mentioned my wife Sabrina will celebrate 29 years of marriage in July.
Yes.
My daughter Naomi she has one more year left on a PhD program.
Beautiful.
At Georgetown University. My son Asa, He got married last year. They just celebrated their first wedding anniversary.
Wow. Okay.
He finished his master's in jazz arranging and composition
Man.
at University of North Texas.
Wow.
And in a couple of weeks, he'll enter basic training for U.S. Air Force.
Mm-hmm.
And he secured a job as a musician, as a drummer, with the Air Force regional band. So
Beautiful.
he'll finish basic training and then join the band of the Golden West
Yes.
at Travis Air Force Base in Fairfield, California.
Beautiful, man. That's what you call success. Beautiful, man.
Yes,
Beautiful.
sir. Yes, sir.
What's next?
What's
for
next?
Courtney Nero.
I mentioned I've started a book of jazz fiction.
Okay.
And that's really important to me as well, just because, we've talked about this music and about the culture behind it. I just think jazz infuses life, man.
Okay.
I think there's so many different approaches and vectors where
Now, is this children's kind of thing or this?
No,
for
this
grown
is
folks?
grown adults,
Okay.
short stories.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. Okay.
And so a variety of short stories where maybe they happen in a jazz club, or maybe the main character is a musician, or there's some other vector where jazz works into life.
Beautiful.
So many stories to be told. So I'm trying to do some of those and then mix them up with my poetry and the lyrics that I've written and put that out as a book.
My man.
And I'm hoping my next phase of life to look into getting a credential in library science.
Okay.
And perhaps in the coming years, I can find additional work, in addition to this research, find additional work in a jazz library or research or archives. Just in the past week or so, I had the great pleasure to meet Professor Judith Corey at UDC, and she took me through the Felix Grant Jazz Archives.
Yeah.
When I went to Rutgers University to do the research for Half Horn Will Travel, I was up there for a week. Just had a phenomenal time, man, surrounded by other books, Downbeat magazine, transcriptions, periodicals. I came out of that saying, I could do this for a living. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Man, it's always good when you find something that you're passionate about. And that you
Right.
Because you're going to do a good job at it.
Right. And, they used to say, you do something you love and you never have to work a day in your life,
Exactly.
Yeah, because you're self-motivated. You're putting yourself into it. Yeah.
Last question. How can people contact you? You can look in the camera and tell if they want to find out about the book or maybe they hire you to gig, whatever.
Yeah.
Talk to the people.
Certainly. Again, you can find the book at Amazon.com. You can also find it at Texas A&M University Press, TAMUpress.com for copies of Half Horn Will Travel. You can also contact me directly, Courtney Nero at gmail.com. I can send you a personalized signed copy of the book. You can also check me out my personal website, CourtneyNeroMusic.com, where you'll find information about the book and about my gigs around the area. And then lastly, again, I mentioned the website, JuniorCookJazzTenor.org, JuniorCookJazzTenor.org, where you will find information about Half Horn Will Travel and a number of other data points, pieces of information about Junior Cook as a musician and his life, including blog posts, solo transcriptions, and other links and resources.
My man. Well, good brother, man. I'm very proud of you, man.
Thank you so much. It means a lot,
man.
Yeah.
And I wish all the best to you.
Thank you.
As you with the book and just with everything, man. Like you on the right path, man.
Praise God. Praise God.
And thank you for coming.
Yeah.
And gracing us, man, with your story.
It's a pleasure and an honor to sit with the great Tony P. Professor Corey said, Tay Tay.
Yeah. Everybody back home know me as Tay Tay. Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you so
man.
much.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Well, there it is. My good brother, the wonderful Mr. Courtney Nero, right here on A Conversation in Jazz. And we'll see you on the next one.